a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Right. So I'm letting you know, we are the children of Israel. We make up the 12 tribes right here are the children of Israel, right? No, you good. So right here you see Mexican, right? You see Mexican. But look, your true nationality.
You got at the bottom?
No, it's just this all of us. This all of our brothers and sisters. You Issachar, right? We make up the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
I guess I got the Bible.
David just said, hold on. David just said that these people took crafty counsel against us to cut us off from being a
Talk about David though. Talk about his life.
Do you understand what I just said?
I know what you said. Talk about David though. Tell me what David's life is like.
You're not listening.
I'm listening to what David.
Hold on. You're not listening to what David just said. David just said that your enemy, so-called white man, the conquistadors, came up with an idea to hide your identity from you.
But he had to bring the revelation about the shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Talk about David's life. You know what David was? Tell me what David was. You ain't nothing different than me, you, and me, bro. I spoke with David. I don't read the Bible. David, look at, bro. God don't forgave you, bro. All this shit that God has.
While you in the midst of your transgression, he forgave you. What's the date?
Today, July, on the 1st.
Today is the Sabbath, the holy Sabbath for the Lord.
Yeah,
Friday, Sunday.
It's Saturday.
What you call Saturday in Spanish?
It's
Sabbath. Right, it's the Sabbath, the day of rest.
I've never fasted in my life, and I tried to. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's what I can't make it survive, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've had days by myself with God. I used to tell him, you know what I used to tell him? I used to tell him, I'm sorry, bro. But I'm thirsty. But I'm saying, I want to understand. You know what I'm saying?
You was giving in to your flesh. Keep reading.
No, look, can you guys read my favorite verse?
In a second.
Okay,
Because you say you love God.
God, I'm not standing here.
But you got to keep the commandments to love God.
Deal of God, but not according to
I was going to the Aztec, bro. I'm finna sin like a motherfucker. I was gonna sin like a motherfucker, bro.
You can't love God and say you about to sin like a motherfucker.
That's right.
That's that Christianity.
Verse 4, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
You don't know that your true identity is Issachar. You don't even remember that. That's prophecy. The Most High said that will happen, and that has happened to you because you walking around saying you're a Mexican. But your true identity is Issacharite.
That's
from the tribe of Israel. Read.
That's right.
Now what the fuck I do, bro?
I'll show you.
What church I go to?
Stay out the church.
Stay out the church.
You don't have to go to church to know the Most High.
No, I get that. So what do you guys do all day?
Read.
Can I help y'all?
Read.
Yep. You get to my daily life?
You live out here?
Yeah, hurry up.
Here.
Here. All 305.
Hold on.
All 305, man. That's my passport. What can I do for you guys, bro?
Keep the commandments. Turn back to the Most High covenant and keep His commandments.
I'm fighting with this shit.
Yeah, we got to keep the commandments. You got to be an example. Ain't nobody gonna believe you love God if you say, I'm gonna go in the Aztec and sin like a motherfucker. You got to stay away from sin, bro. You got to stop sinning. It's bad or as hard as it is in this society to stop sinning, you got to try. You got to start keeping the Sabbath on. On the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to be out buying and spending, right? On the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to be cooking. You're not supposed to be spending money. You're not supposed to be doing your own pleasures on the Sabbath day.
So what do you guys do all day, bro?
Study and keep the commandments, raise our households to fear the Lord.
God. Mighty brothers of HOI, Las Vegas. Holding it down, waking our brothers up. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm your host, Kasadia, and another Wednesday wake-up call. First, let me give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahushai being the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Kum Yashala, rise of Israel. Shalom, double honors to our elders, paving the way, putting in work on the streets, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right, so this lesson is going to be called "Whosoever shall alter this word." A couple crazy stories happened this week. We're not going to talk at length about everything. It was major earthquakes, tsunamis, continuous earthquakes. There's a hot blob underneath the eastern coast of the United States going towards New York. So it's a lot going on, just to say the least. But we're going to start with, of course, saying Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is protected by the Fair Use Act. This for educational purposes only. All right. So our first story, our top story, is Esau, his house caving in, timber falling from his house, right? So let's get Psalm chapter 69 and verse 22. Who knows this Edomite's background, his family lineage, so forth and so on, but we're in a time period where judgment is taking place, and Esau definitely gets judged by sitting in his room, being comfortable, all of a sudden, timber falling down from his rooftop. All right, let's get Psalm chapter 69 and verse 22.
Salakia, I'll read for you if you want me to.
Khan, the water king.
Khan, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 69 and verse 2. I sink in deep mire.
22.
Oh, 22, Salakia.
Khan.
When you have it, say Khan.
Khan.
Khan, let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, and let it become a trap.
Khan, go ahead.
Let their eyes be darkened, that they see not, and make their loins continually to shake.
Read on.
Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them.
Khan. So, David's praying in a time of his affliction. So, in our sense of being oppressed here in America, this is a good prayer to say. And you can see, it literally did take place with the habitation. Go ahead, read on.
Let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents.
So this person's habitation becomes a desolate spot because it's uninhabitable after the Most High got through with it. Read verse 26.
For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded.
Okay. Adding on to our oppression, adding on to our affliction. You end out with verse 27.
Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness.
Add sin onto sin, Salakia. Give me 1 second, line up this video. So this is what happened to Esau, courtesy of the Most High.
Your beautiful house on a river, the sun is shining, and then out of nowhere, lightning zaps the ceiling right over your bed.
And then you abruptly wake up covered in debris halfway to a heart attack. This happened to a man in Ormond Beach, and as Watch News' Michelle Meredith reports, he lived to tell his only in Florida story.
Climbing up the stairs to his bedroom, Paul Hollum took us on a tour of what's left of his ceiling. Actually, it looks pretty good now. This is what it looked like after that bolt of lightning came out of the blue. Mother Nature creating a massive skylight, sending parts of the ceiling and roof cascading all over him.
I didn't hear the bang that everybody else heard. I mean, I just immediately woke up when everything landed on me. I just started to move the stuff off the bed and climbed out of there and opened the door. And then I saw daylight.
Now, it happened about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. And although Paul lived right here on the Halifax River, there appeared to be no big storm brewing.
It was clear, blue, and sunny out, so I didn't think of a lightning strike. I didn't know if there was an airplane accident or something else.
Paul was taking a nap, trying to recover from a touch of food poisoning when the lightning hit above his bed, and he woke up to the feel of sheetrock, lumber, and parts of the tile roof crashing down. And it could have been worse. The sheetrock cushioned the weight of the heavy tile.
It's 15 feet up, and it wasn't just one piece of tile. Those tiles are 15 pounds each or whatever, 20 pounds each, and it was 3 or 4 pieces plus all the mud work on them. So, you know, those are 80 or 100 pounds.
Paul's family helped him dig out of the rubble and took stock of the damage, which was impressive. The electronics had been zapped, and there were bits and pieces all over the pool deck. Do you feel lucky to be alive?
I do.
And grateful to be in the position of merely picking up the pieces of his house, but possibly picking up the pieces of his life. Covering Volusia County and Ormond Beach, Michelle Meredith, West 2 News.
Let's get Ezra chapter 6 and verse 11. You know, Esau went to take a nap. It was broad daylight, not a cloud in the sky. You know what I mean? And it's been happening a lot down South Carolina, in New Jersey. Well, you know, people have passed away, died of lightning strikes, but it hasn't been like a storm. It's been storms miles away. With there, they didn't even try to, you know, say, oh, storm was 10 miles away, 15 miles away. They pretty much left that alone. Because apparently this is happening a lot as of late, and you know, it's really hard to cover things like this up. Go ahead, can you bring that out? Ezra chapter 6 and 11.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 11. Also, I have made a decree that whosoever shall alter this word, let timber be pulled down from his house, and being set up, let him be hanged. Set up, let him be hanged thereon, and let his house be made a dunghill for this.
So Darius is reading something that Cyrus made a decree regarding the Israelites, and you know, protecting them while they built their temple. But apparently, seeing that the powers that be now have altered the word. There's different versions of the Bible. They have a Queen James version of the Bible, apparently. And trying to just, you know, change, you know, important words, so forth and so on. There's people that are going to have to deal with altering the word of Yahweh Shem Shai, you know, and seeing that a lightning strike can hit somebody while they're asleep. The Most High gave him food poisoning, laid him down, and then struck his house with lightning and where he was asleep. Has to be hard to sleep now. You know what I mean? But it is some people out there that have profited from altering the word. A lot of Edomites, other nations, and they've had to pay for that. And as we can see, it's occurring. All right, let's go to Obadiah chapter 1 for the next news story, which happened today. It was a person that apparently liked Jake. He was Jake, apparently, if allegedly, you know, brother had a beard and everything. Went down and gunned down some soldiers in Georgia. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's go to Obadiah chapter verse 9, Salakia.
This is the book of Obadiah, verse 9. And thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
Khan. All right, so Esau has some things coming to him. You know what I mean? Some people have looking forward to a kingdom, to a crown, not walking anymore, being carried wherever you go, heaven on earth, sapphires, rubies, emeralds, all those things all over the place. And some people have to look forward to slaughter, and that would be Esau. Read verse 10.
Verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother, Jacob's shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Yes, so that's coming to Esau. And this before I knew that it was Jake that did it. Who would think that? You know what I mean? Normally, anybody that's doing a mass shooting is usually Esau. So I was when I was doing this lesson, I assumed it would be Esau, but it was probably Esau that got hit, you know. And you can assume that going into the military and having to deal with Edomites all around you is more of them normally in these barracks than us, right? So, you know, dealing with the racism he has to deal with, you know, who knows what this brother had to go through. But here's the preliminary news report.
We have breaking news. An Army base in Georgia is on lockdown after a report of an active shooter. This is happening at Fort Stewart in southwest of Savannah. Law enforcement is there and casualties have been reported. A post on Fort Stewart's Facebook page told all personnel in the locked down area to stay inside, close and lock all windows and doors. So Fort Stewart is the largest Army post east of the Mississippi River. We're going to be bringing you more on this story as soon as we get it.
And looking at the past reports of Fort Stewart, you would have Jake riding around in you know, a tank or a Jeep, like a Humvee or whatever like that, and he'll flip over and he's the only one that dies. And it just seems very odd. You can't trust anything that Esau does in these military establishments. Of course, the higher ups are just, you know, older Edomites for the most part. But you've seen situations where Eve, after being like assaulted in the tent, people cover it up and the family's still trying to, you know, get justice and so forth and so on. So a lot of things happen on these military bases and they sweep it under the rug. So if you have Jake, you know, who's already they already messed them up, and then they put him in a car and flip it over. It's kind of like an open and shut case, you know what I'm saying? And along with all the other very strange and unusual ways for us to check in these military bases, who knows how often they do this, okay? But apparently Jake started, you know, the rabbit had the gun in this instance, you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know who the victims are, but that's highly unusual, okay? Let's move on. Let's go to Revelation 21 and verse 8. Very strange story we're about to check out. First, they were saying how it's a possibility that Earth could be hit by an asteroid. Now they're saying it's a possibility that the moon could be getting hit by an asteroid. Who knows what's true and what's not? We know how Esau's the liar and the father of it. So we can't just take it, you know, from, you know, his word that this is true. But it's something to look into. Now we see how this brimstone is going to come about, or how it can come about. And also, what I want you to check out watching this video is how Esau is, very nonchalant when they ask him, about raining debris. Esau is like, no, it's fine. No, you don't have to worry about any of that. And he's almost smiling as he says it. So 9 times out of 10, he's lying. Okay. Let's bring that out. Revelation 21 and verse 8.
This is the book of Revelation 21 and 8. When you have it, say, Con. Con. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Yes, fire and brimstone. So check out that brimstone part, right? How does brimstone come about? How could it possibly come about? Like the Sodom and Gomorrah, sulfur-like smell, destroying the land. Let's watch it.
And a large asteroid that once appeared to be on a potential collision course with the Earth could now hit the moon instead. The asteroid, named 2024 YR4, could slam into the moon in the late 2032 year. The building-sized object could impact astronauts and infrastructure on the lunar surface at the time. Researchers are studying the possible effects and looking into potential mitigation efforts.
The asteroid NASA's scientists thought was on course for a dangerously close path to Earth now fear the moon might be a more likely target. The space rock known as 2024 YR4 is zooming around the sun and in and out of view of NASA telescopes. But the last observations showed the asteroid's trajectory is now clear of Earth, but could hurtle dangerously close to the moon by the year 2032.
Sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. Launchpads, spaceports, and data centers on the moon? Well, soon those dreams could become reality. The battle for AI dominance is now forcing companies to think outside the box and outside our atmosphere, racing to get massive computing centers into outer space. Joining me now for more on all of this is Ross Centers, CEO of Ethos Space. Ross, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Gio.
Okay, so let's try to break this all down here. So data centers on Earth, they're actually causing a massive strain on precious resources, of course, electricity, water. So why would data centers on the move be a better alternative?
Well, the data centers on the moon are a really opportune moment in history because right now we're building ships that can get there. And it's always been an eighth continent that is just hanging in the sky. But what it's for is it has infinite power, infinite cooling, and infinite mineral resources to manufacture these data centers. So what you're seeing here is the first stage of a 1 gigawatt data center on the moon. And those solar panels and those towers, those are all made from lunar resources. These can all be made from the regolith that you find at any landing pad, anywhere you land on the moon. So we can take away the problem of trying to fit all of the energy demands for infinite growth in AI onto Earth, competing with human resources. And we can put that onto the moon, and we can create a new continent where we make our data centers and we have our compute live. And it's going to solve a lot of problems.
What about the fact that the moon controls tides, it helps stabilize seasons, among so many other things here on Earth? Are there any concerns that building that kind of infrastructure there on the moon could potentially have unintended environmental consequences for us here on Earth?
The moon could be hit by an asteroid that initially appeared to be on a potential collision course with Earth. While new data suggests the planet is cleared from impact, but there are risks to satellites and future space missions if it strikes the moon.
The moon could soon have another iconic crater.
It will be the largest asteroid to hit the moon within, we think, about 5,000 years. It will carve out a crater about a mile across.
Recently discovered asteroid, dubbed 2024 YR4, was originally thought to be a threat to Earth 7 years from now. New data suggests our planet is safe, but the moon isn't out of danger.
There's about a 4% chance that it could hit the moon. And that uncertainty will be removed the next time we can see it, which will probably not be until 2028. Essentially, the sun is preventing us from seeing it right now.
2024 YR4 is almost 200 feet across. and could leave an impression on the moon similar in size to the meteor crater in Arizona.
YR4 strikes the moon on the near side so that we can see it. There should be a bright flash, and then those small moon rocks essentially will fall into the Earth's atmosphere, where they will produce a brilliant meteor shower.
There is no real danger to Earth, but it could impact our satellites and would put any astronauts exploring the moon under NASA's Artemis program at risk.
Potentially have unintended environmental consequences for us here on Earth.
None at all. The moon only interacts with the Earth through its gravity, right? So when we transform this regolith into landing pad materials like this hard rock, or we make it into solar panels and data centers, that doesn't change the gravity of it. And even if we launch material off the moon, we're going to be taking such a small percentage that there'll be no difference at all.
What about this major question that, who owns the moon, right? The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 says that no nation can own the moon. So could this lead to a conflict of companies start claiming lunar real estate? I mean, I can imagine quite the legal battle, an interstellar legal battle might happen.
Well, US law is actually very clear that if you start developing something on the moon, if you make something on the moon, that's yours and you have title to it. And international law agrees. Even the Outer Space Treaty says you can't interfere with what other people are doing. We have 55 nations signed up to the Artemis Accords, and they all stand for an affirmative vision of property rights, where if you build it, it's yours.
All right, well, if I can get there, I'll claim my property right there. So all of this sounds very futuristic. How long do you think that it will take to put these spaceports on the moon?
This is happening very quickly, right? The United States and China are locked in a new space race, and China is hitting all of its goals on time. There are going to be Chinese astronauts on the moon before 2030, and the United States is bound to keep up. So we're going to be building a spaceport on the moon by the end of this decade. And very quickly after that, we're going to be able to create solar cells and cooling panels and be able to host very scalable data structures right there on the moon early next decade.
All right, Ross Centers, the CEO of Ethos Space, a fascinating conversation.
December 22nd, 2032, a space rock the size of a football field could really mess up our day.
This asteroid was possibly going to hit us this year and or in 2032 as of earlier this year, but we now know it won't hit the Earth. So that's obviously good news.
But scientists now believe asteroid 2024 YR4 could slam into the moon instead. There's only about a 4% chance of that, but if it does, that collision would have quite the impact.
That is coming in faster than a speeding bullet. If you blast out a hole that's a kilometer across, you're looking at millions of tons of material.
Here on Earth, we're likely to only see a spectacular meteor shower, but all that moon rock could have a huge impact on our growing satellite system, disrupting communication and navigation networks, as well as our ability to forecast the weather.
Space has done so much for humanity and society, and it will continue to do this. However, just like any other system, we need to have sufficient backups.
Because a rare asteroid moon crash isn't the only potential threat. Solar storms, satellite-on-satellite collisions, or a military attack can take out vital space infrastructure too.
If we get too reliant on space, and if we have other opportunities to do things, but we say, you know what, if we could do it from space, let's just do it from space, then we are setting ourselves up to be actually vulnerable to a wide range of issues.
This particular threat won't be visible to us again until 2028, when scientists believe they'll be able to determine whether a direct hit to the moon will occur. Until then, experts say even the small possibility of such a wide-scale satellite disruption should serve as a wake-up call.
God. So, an asteroid could hit the moon and rain down fire and brimstone to the Earth. Stranger things have occurred, and something as wild as that, the possibility of that, something we just got to talk about. All right, but let's continue on. All right, as we can see, some things were going on in the military base. There's also things going on in the police station, so we want to look into that. We understand that America has a problem with race, right? And but one thing that is you know, can be a surprise to some that come over to this country, and you know, they already have a preconceived notion of how Negroes act and what's our biggest problem, and we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, so forth and so on. So it's a wake-up call when they realize that it's not just the Negro. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the so-called black man that's dealing, black man, woman, and child dealing with these wicked Edomites. It's the wicked Edomites, and anybody can get it. But this happened to a brother in Maine. He was a police. I don't know if he was a sergeant. I'm not sure. Want to watch the video. But he worked for the police, and apparently somebody gave him up, and that he is from Jamaica and is overstayed his visa, I believe. Okay, but let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 8. You look at the picture, it's just him and surrounded by a whole bunch of Shalom.
Shalom Salakia King. Shalom everybody. Yahabashim Shabrakatham. Yahabashim Shashimatan. Hey, which YouTube you on?
HOI News.
Okay, yeah, I want to go back and how long you been on?
About since 8:40.
Okay, I just want to be able to go back and get the notes from what I missed. All right, King Salakia about that. Go ahead.
Khan.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom. All right.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, everybody. Salakia, go ahead.
Khan. So, in this situation, he's coming from Jamaica, and when you see the picture, you'll see, you know, it's a whole bunch of Edomites that he's surrounded. So, it's in Maine. So, assuming that, you know, his whole police force, Edomites, the town's probably full of Edomites, and they found a way to deport the brother. Let's bring that out. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 8.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 8. When you have it, say, Khan. A friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity.
So you're not going to know necessarily what your friend is when everything's going good, and an enemy, you know, is not going to be silent when things are going bad. Go ahead.
And the prosperity of a man enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart.
Slacky, read that one more time.
And the prosperity of a man enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart.
Okay, so when things are going bad, people jump ship. And you know, enemies will be grieved when, you know, you're doing pretty good. Read can you go to the next verse 10?
Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
So you can't trust your enemy. If anybody that, you know, he would have told, or, you know, oh yeah, my visa, you know, it's almost up, and, you know, I'm gonna get it taken care of. You know, I'm not trying to get deported. And he's talking to like an Edomite, and they're sitting there like, yeah, we're definitely gonna rat you out. You know what I mean? Because it's what, $700 or probably more you get from ICE, or, you know, from telling on somebody who's not supposed to be in the country. But also, if it's free, like Esau's going to do that. That's what Esau does. Okay, so trusting your enemy is not necessarily the best idea in the world. Okay, I'm not saying he did that, but you watch the video, you let me know.
First at 11, the police chief in Old Orchard Beach is speaking out and firing back at the federal government after one of the town's police officers was arrested by ICE.
Yeah, so which one do you think got deported? You know what I'm saying? And you look at those guys there, you know what I mean? They don't seem like they're going to keep that secret much longer. So you got the shaved heads. Yeah. Let's watch the video.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marissa Bodner. At the center of all this is John Luke Evans. He's a recently hired Summer Reserve police officer in Old Orchard Beach.
The Department of Homeland Security says Evans is an illegal immigrant from Jamaica who overstayed his visa when he flew into Miami in September of 2023. Homeland Security says the ATF flagged Evans when he tried to buy a firearm, which he was planning to use as a police officer. He was then taken into custody by ICE, where he remains. Patricia Hyde, the field office director for ICE Boston, blasting the OOB Police Department, writing in part, quote, "The fact that a police department would hire an illegal alien and unlawfully issue him a firearm while on duty would be comical if it weren't so tragic. We have a police department that was knowingly breaking the very law they are charged with enforcing in order to employ an illegal alien," end quote. Tonight, the Old Orchard Beach police chief issuing a response saying the Department of Homeland Security signed off on Officer Evans's right to work. Chief Elise Shard writes, quote, "As part of the hiring process, the town reviewed multiple forms of identification, including photo identification, and submitted Evans's I-9 form to the Department of Homeland Security's E-Verify program. The Department of Homeland Security then verified that Evans was authorized to work in the U.S. The form was submitted and approved by DHS on May 12, 2025, end quote. They also claim he is authorized to work in the United States until the year 2030. It's not clear what's next in this case. We'll bring you any new information as we get it.
Breaking.
So it's not just 10 tribes. Do you know what I'm saying? It's obvious a lot of people are still left in the past, you know what I mean? January, February, all the most violent people on the planet are going into these what do you want to call it? Concentration camps, is we call them, what it is. But come to find out, they weren't violent. A lot of people just came in illegally or overstayed a visa, like the brother. Some people are from here, from the United States, and born here in the United States, still deport them. So this deportation thing is something that is something to be definitely looked at and studied, because this is the blueprint. This is what they've been doing. Nothing really has changed. Nothing really changed other than the names of the people doing it. But this is pure like Nazism. You know what I mean? So the brother was working. He was a police officer, and they're trying to get him deported. See what happens. All right. Let's continue to go with the dysfunction that is America. We're going to talk about this Edomite that was living amongst this neighborhood called an Anaconda, some city, you know what I mean? It's a snake, right? So a large snake, and you got this snake living amongst these people that are at this bar, and Esau decides to unload on them. Okay, so this is just the dysfunction of America. It doesn't really get into the motive, so to speak, because he's been they recently caught him, but it was such a horrific crime. You know what I'm saying? That that's all they really talked about. They didn't talk about was it argument or anything like that. But assuming that he lived next to this bar that we're about to talk about, is with loud music, people yelling outside, smoking cigarettes. Who knows if it just kind of brought Esau over the edge. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus. We'll stay there in chapter 12 and verse 12. Who knows if it brought him to the edge? They have the Son of Sam in Netflix. There's a documentary just recently came out, and that's about David Berkowitz in New York. He's kind of 730, and he would have conversations with a neighbor's dog, and the neighbor's name was Sam, so he called himself the Son of Sam. It seems like this guy might have the same kind of issues, like maybe just from the outside looking in, that he's arguing with maybe the bartender, or he's losing it slowly in his dwelling place. So he ended up shooting a whole bunch of people. But that's Esau. That's why people get money and they want to go out into what they call high society, and he's surrounded by Edomites. That's a dangerous place to be. You know what I'm saying? These Edomites are skilled killers. Okay, very well versed in homicidal tendencies. Okay, but let's talk about this one. I think it's Montana, but let's bring down Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 12.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 12. When you have it, say, "Come."
Time.
Come, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And though at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith.
So, you don't want him next to you because he's thinking about doing something violent. Okay. He'll think about overthrowing you. He'll take your place. So when you got Esau next to you, that little smile, that little grin that he has plans behind that. Okay. So this is, I believe, in Montana. Let's see.
News, the urgent manhunt for an Army veteran accused of killing 4 people at a Montana bar. Multiple law enforcement agencies are scouring the mountainous area near Anaconda by ground and air. Residents warned to stay inside and lock their doors. The community on edge. Authorities releasing this new image of 45-year-old Michael Brown fleeing the scene after the deadly shooting rampage on Friday morning. Police say he should be considered armed and dangerous. The bartender and 3 customers were killed. Tonight,
only Esau killed 4 people with no shoes, no socks, in his daggone drawers, no shirt, and he's on the run like that. Like, that's a beast. That's diabolical. Like,
what we're learning about the suspect and his military service. ABC's Melissa Don leads us off.
Tonight, the manhunt in Montana. A town is on edge as law enforcement search for the suspect accused of shooting and killing 4 people. Authorities releasing this image showing the suspect, 45-year-old Michael Brown, fleeing the scene of the shooting. Multiple local, state, and federal agencies are on the hunt. Residents in Anaconda, a town of about 10,000, are being asked to stay vigilant, warning people to stay inside and lock their doors. The suspect allegedly lives next to the Owl Bar where the shooting occurred. Tonight, authorities also say Brown was an Iraq War veteran, joining the Army in 2001 and deploying to Iraq between 2004 and 2005 for just under a year. He later joined the Montana National Guard for almost 3 years until 2009.
He is believed to be armed and extremely dangerous. Residents in the area have been notified and encouraged to stay inside their homes on high alert.
Authorities say the shooting began at 10:30 Friday morning.
Someone on Ash Street.
The sheriff's department says the bartender and 3 customers were killed in the shootings. The search tonight focusing on nearby Stumptown Road, roughly 6 miles from the scene of the crime. These helicopters seen circling Anaconda's Garrity Mountain yesterday evening. A Ford F-150 believed to belong to the suspect was also found abandoned.
We're doing everything we can to find and bring this perpetrator to justice.
With the FBI, ATF, and U.S. Marshals are assisting. This as the SWAT team cleared the suspect's home last night. And police are asking anyone who encounters Brown to call them as the people of Anaconda are trying to get their lives back to normal. With
Melissa Don for.
So that is Esau living next to an owl bar called the Owl Bar and decided to shoot a whole bunch of people. So Babylon's falling. They're falling apart, not able to hold it together. Son of Sam, serial killer type tendencies. Because could everybody bother you? I don't know. With Jake, in that situation, it would have been like 1 person dead and 5 people shot or whatever. Esau really aimed to destroy those 4 other people. So I don't know if that was everybody in the bar or what, but there it is, true nature shining through, okay? And we're going to end with this next topic. It was a large earthquake, 8.8 that occurred outside of Russia. I guess you would see, aftershocks, but they had a large aftershock. It was more like a 6.7, which is not really aftershock. It's like a whole nother earthquake right around the same region. There's been earthquakes in New Jersey and New York. There is a hot blob underneath the eastern seaboard or something to that effect, which is on its way to New York City. Reminds me of what was that Ghostbusters and the lava flow underneath the city. But it seems like that's what's really going on. So earthquakes in New York, earthquakes in Russia, large earthquakes above 5.0. Let me see how many, Slovakia. It's been a plethora. So there's a whole bunch of earthquakes in diverse places. All right, let me see. It has been 396 earthquakes in the last 30 days, stronger than a 5.0. That's a new record. So this is what's going on. Let's go to Psalm chapter 104 and verse 31.
This is the book of Psalms 104 and 31. When you have it, say Khan.
Khan.
You said 104 and 31.
Khan.
The glory of the Lord shall endure forever. The Lord shall rejoice in his works.
Khan, read on.
He looketh on the earth, and it trembleth. He toucheth the hills, and they smoke. I will sing. I will sing. I will sing it to the Lord as long as I live, and I will sing praise to my God while I have my being.
Khan. Okay, so let's check out these hills smoking. There's now a volcano that hasn't erupted in the time they've been recording volcanoes being erupted, but now it has erupted in Russia, I believe. Let's watch this.
New at 9, a volcano in eastern Russia is erupting for the first time in recorded history. The Krashenikov volcano, quiet for 600 years, is now spewing ash and smoke high into the sky. It's happening in the same region rocked by an 8.6 earthquake just days ago. Scientists say it might be connected. That quake triggered tsunami warnings across the Pacific, including here in SoCal, but no serious damage was reported. Scientists are now closely monitoring the region for more volcanic and seismic activity.
And now we have a situation where I believe the West Coast, some volcanic activity happening over there. I think Los Angeles had an earthquake, maybe like a 4.0, I believe. So when it comes down to, a lot of activity is happening underneath us. Let me see. There was a 3.5, Slovakia, 3.9 over there in California. So some places that aren't normally shaken, California always has some type of earthquake, but New York, New York, not so much. So seems like a lot of things are going on, continuing to go on. So repentance is very necessary. All right. And that is the lesson for this week in the Wednesday wake-up call. Time to wake up, Jacob. We're in the last days. All right. So we're going to pray out, and afterwards, we're going to come back and have announcements. So if you're on the YouTube, come on over to the Zoom so we can give announcements afterwards. Komi Ashala. It's the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malachbaka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayim, Natananawa, Lakhom, Kau, Yowam, Wasalaf Nawa, Kabawaf Nawa, Kasalaf Nawa, Kabawaf Nawa, Wala'a, Dabe Nawa, Badasai One, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Wa'ala, Wataparaf, La Wilumnim, Amen. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Khan, Kom Yashala, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Kom Yashala, we got next. Keep going, okay? As you can see, still a lot going on. Didn't even get in touch, really touch on Russia and how Dmitry Medvedevich and Donald Trump are sending nuclear threats back and forth to each other. So, stay focused. Stay strong. Kom Yashala.